1. Introduction. My name is Lucy. I am an artist. My home is an apartment. It is full of my art. I have many canvases and paint brushes. I use oil paint and the smell is strong. My floor has spots of blue and red paint everywhere. The apartment is not clean, but it is a beautiful mess. I make art every day. It is my passion, but it does not always pay the bills. Being an artist is hard work. Sometimes I sell a large painting. When I sell one, I have enough money for weeks. I can buy good food like meat and fresh vegetables. I feel rich and happy. This is called a feast. But sometimes I do not sell anything for 2 or 3 months. Then I have very little money. I eat only simple bread or cheap noodles. This is called starving. My financial life is very unstable. This worry about money is always present. I live in a small apartment in the city center. I love it very much because the light is perfect for painting. But the rent is high every month. I have a big problem now. I did not pay the rent for 1 month. Then I did not pay for 2 months. Now it is the 3rd month and the rent is still not paid. This is a large amount of money. My bank account is now completely empty. The 3rd month is finished and I have no solution. I know the landlord, Henry, will come soon to collect the money. I feel stress all the time because of this debt. I try to hide inside my home during the day. I do not answer the telephone. I do not want anyone to see me. When I hear a small noise outside my door, I freeze. If I hear heavy footsteps in the hallway, my heart beats very fast, like a drum. I hold my breath and wait for the sound to stop. I am afraid that the person walking is Henry, the landlord. He will bring a paper and ask for all the money. I do not have the money to give him right now. I stay quiet and hope the footsteps pass my door and go away quickly. I feel trapped inside my own home. This fear is constant. Every small sound is a threat. I wish I could paint faster and sell more, but the reality is difficult. I am waiting for the moment when my luck runs out and the bad news arrives. 2. The landlord arrives. A very loud knock came on the door. It was sudden and strong. My heart started beating quickly. It felt like a drum inside my chest. I knew who it was. I opened the door slowly, just a little bit. It was Henry, my landlord. He is a tall man. He has dark eyes and wide shoulders. Today, he looked very tired. He held a white paper in one hand. This paper held the bad news. Henry spoke right away. His voice was deep and serious. "Lucy," he said, "we must talk now." I looked at the floor. I felt ashamed. "You are behind on the rent," he continued. "It has been 3 months. I cannot wait for the money anymore." I looked up at him quickly. I needed more time. "I know, Henry. Please listen to me," I begged. "Can you give me just 1 more week? Only 7 days." I tried to sound confident. "I have a buyer who wants my art. The person wants the big blue landscape painting." Henry let out a long breath, a sigh. He seemed frustrated. He did not yell. He just looked very tired. He stepped inside my apartment. He did not ask for permission. He looked around the room. He saw the piles of canvases and the paint on the floor. He saw my messy but beautiful life. He did not look angry, which surprised me. Instead, he looked disappointed. It was worse than anger. When people are angry, they shout. When they are disappointed, they give up hope. He looked at my paintings again. He shook his head slowly. I knew this was the last warning. I needed to find the money fast. I had run out of time to hide. The silence was heavy. I watched him stand near my table where my brushes lay. He wore a simple shirt today, not his usual business suit. He looked less like a landlord and more like a man who worried about his own problems. But his problems were now my problems. The paper in his hand was important. It meant I could lose my home soon. I watched him closely, waiting for him to speak again. 3, a closer moment. Henry walked very close to me. He stood just one step away. I could smell the clean scent of his shirt. The small room felt even smaller now. I felt hot, and my heart started beating very fast again. Henry looked down at me. He is a tall man. He looked tired before, but now his dark eyes were bright and focused on my face. This was not about the rent anymore. The air between us changed completely. It felt thick and heavy with a new kind of tension. Henry spoke softly. "You always have a reason, Lucy," he said. He meant my promises about selling paintings. I knew he was right. I always said, "Next week I will pay." But next week never brought the money. I should have apologized again. I should have begged for more time, maybe 2 weeks. But I could not speak. I just looked at his face. I forgot about the 3 months of unpaid rent. I forgot about the official paper he held in his hand. I had always thought Henry was handsome. He had strong shoulders and a serious face. When he came to collect the rent, I always tried to tidy up a little. I had not been close to a man in 2 years. I lived alone with only my art supplies. I was very lonely. This feeling of loneliness was strong right now. I wanted closeness. I wanted someone to look at me. Henry was looking at me now, but not like a landlord. He was looking at me like a man. Henry stood very still. His shadow covered me slightly. The silence was louder than any noise. I could feel the heat coming from his body. My hands felt nervous, so I put them behind my back. I tried to look strong, but inside I was shaking a little bit. I waited for him to say the next thing. This new tension felt strange, but it was also exciting. Henry leaned down a little. His voice was a quiet whisper. "Is there another way to resolve this?" he asked. I heard the words, and they were dangerous. What did he mean? Maybe he meant a different kind of payment plan. But his eyes were not looking at my hands or my head. His eyes were looking at my mouth. I knew what he meant now. The rent was 3 months late. That was a lot of money. I had no way to pay it. This felt like the only door open now. I did not pull away. I wanted this moment. I was tired of being afraid of him. I was tired of being poor. For this one moment, I decided to stop thinking about the money. I decided to think only about him. I took a small step forward, closing the last space between us. I whispered back, "Maybe." It was a quiet word, but it meant a big change. I focused on his strong face and nothing else. I accepted the closer moment. The night together, Henry held my waist tightly. His hands felt strong and sure. We kissed for a long time. The kiss was deep and full of strong, sudden feelings. It was passion and frustration mixed together. I completely stopped thinking about the big debt I owed him. I completely forgot that Henry was my landlord and the owner of my small home. We walked quickly into the bedroom. The whole world outside the apartment disappeared. We spent the entire night together. It was a very warm and sweet night. For a few short hours, we were only a man and a woman. We were not a landlord and a tenant anymore. I felt very safe and truly happy when I was held in his strong arms. But then the new sun started to come up slowly. The bright light came through the window glass. I watched Henry put on his shirt and trousers. When the sun came up, the difficult reality returned quickly. The warm, soft feeling of the night was suddenly gone. The silence in the room became very heavy and long. It was extremely awkward. I did not have time to think clearly before this moment. I just knew that I strongly liked him. I wanted to be close to him. But now I felt a sudden, cold worry in my stomach. I looked closely at his tired face, but he carefully avoided my eyes. He looked serious and very hurried. He was getting ready to leave my apartment. Did he feel the same way I did? I worried that maybe he did not like me at all. Perhaps he only used me to solve the rent problem or just for the night. He got what he wanted, and now he was ready to go. I did not know what I should say. I waited quietly for him to speak first. He finished dressing quickly. He did not look back at me again before he walked silently to the front door. I watched him leave the room. I felt very confused and alone. 5 people talk. It was 2 days later. I felt a little worried, but I needed to check my mail. I walked out into the long, quiet hallway. I tried to look normal. I hoped that everything was okay now, especially the rent issue. As I walked down the hall, I saw 2 people standing near the stairs. It was Mrs. Gable and Mr. Lee. They were my neighbors. They were talking very close together. When they saw me, they stopped talking at once. They became very still. I smiled a little, trying to be friendly. They did not smile back at all. They just stared at me. Their eyes were cold and hard. I felt uncomfortable right away. I walked faster, wanting to pass them quickly. Then I heard a voice. It was Mrs. Gable. She spoke in a low whisper, but the hallway was silent, so I heard every single word. "That is the girl," she said to Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee did not look at me. He looked down at his shoes. Mrs. Gable continued, making her voice a little louder. "She pays her rent with her body. It is disgusting." Those words were like a physical hit. My ears started ringing loudly. My face burned with sudden, intense heat. I felt a deep, terrible shame cover me completely. I stopped walking immediately. I could not move my feet. All the good feelings from the night with Henry died in 1 second. I did not get the mail. I could not stay in the hallway for one more moment. I turned around very quickly and ran back to my small apartment door. I struggled with the key for a moment. I finally got inside and pushed the door shut fast. I locked the door, and then I locked it again. I wanted to put the entire world outside. I leaned against the wood, trying to catch my breath. My heart was beating too fast in my chest. I felt dirty and cheap. The wonderful night I had shared with Henry now felt like a huge mistake. How did they know about us? I started to think hard. Did they hear us through the thin walls of the building, or did Henry tell them? The thought made my stomach hurt badly. Did Henry tell someone that I slept with him just to clear my debt? Did he break our privacy? I had trusted him completely. I thought our moment was special and secret. Now I was the subject of ugly gossip. I was the scandal of the whole building. I felt very, very alone. The shame was too much to carry. I went to the window and looked out, wishing I could leave this entire place. 6. Bad news. Henry came back to my apartment that evening. I was happy to see him. I hoped he would hug me and tell me everything was okay. I needed comfort after hearing the bad things the neighbors said 2 days ago. I thought Henry would protect me, but Henry did not hug me. He stood near the door. His posture was stiff, like wood. His face was serious. He looked away from me, towards my paintings. This lack of affection made me feel cold very fast. I knew something was terribly wrong. "Lucy," he started. His voice was not soft like before. It was formal and distant. "The neighbors are talking about us." I looked down at my hands. I already knew this. "They are complaining about us," he continued. He did not say us like a couple. He said it like a mistake. He told me the rumors were bad for his business. "They say I treat you differently because we slept together," he explained. He said this was very bad for his reputation as a landlord. He needed to be fair to everyone. I felt a sharp, strong pain in my chest. He cared much more about his business than about my feelings. I realized then that our night meant nothing to him. I thought it was special and real. To him, I was just a secret that had become a loud, public problem. I started to feel very sad and ashamed. Henry walked closer, but he still did not touch me. "You cannot stay here, Lucy," he said clearly. "You still owe the rent money, And now the rumors are too much. This is a small building. People talk too much and it affects my work. I could not speak. My throat was suddenly very tight. He was asking me to leave my home. My heart broke into many pieces. He was choosing his reputation and his money over me. He looked at me, but I felt like he did not see me. He only saw a tenant who needed to move out. "You need to move out," he repeated one more time. The words were heavy and final. The evening that started with a small hope ended with terrible, bad news. 7, I am angry. Tears fell from my eyes. I was very sad. But the sadness did not last long. A fire started in my chest. I felt strong anger. I wiped my wet face with my hand. I decided I would not cry anymore. I went to the door quickly. I opened it and looked into the hallway. I wanted to tell the neighbors the truth. I looked at Mrs. Gable's door and Mr. Lee's door. I shouted very loudly. I told them they were wrong. I said I did not want free rent. I told them they were terrible people for talking about me. I did not care if they heard me. I felt better when I shouted. I turned back to Henry. He was still standing near the door. His face showed surprise. "Listen to me, Henry," I said. My voice was sharp. "I slept with you because I wanted to be with you. It was not a payment for the room. I liked you. I did not do it to clear my debt." I looked at his eyes. He looked away again. "You are a coward," I told him. "You hide behind your business and your reputation. You are afraid of what people say." I saw a little respect in his eyes then, but my anger was too big to stop now. I did not wait for him to speak. I walked quickly to my studio area. I started to pack my art supplies. I found my largest box and put in my paints and brushes. I decided I would leave. I would not let him make the decision for me. I would leave on my own terms. I pulled the canvases from the walls. I rolled up the blue landscape painting. I did not want to sell it now. I wanted to keep it. This apartment was full of good and bad memories. The bad memories were stronger now. I did not need this place. I needed my pride. I needed my art. I worked fast. Henry watched me silently from the living room. I did not look at him again. I put on my coat. I carried the heavy box of paints to the door. "I am leaving," I said simply. He did not move. I walked out of the apartment, leaving him alone in the empty room. I closed the door softly behind me. I felt pain, but I also felt free for the first time in many days. 8. A happy end. 2 months passed quickly. I moved to a new place. It is a small studio apartment, but I like it very much. It is cheap, so I do not worry about money every day. The light is perfect for my painting. I work very hard now. My focus is only on my art. I sold 3 paintings last month. This success gave me new confidence. I felt stronger and more independent than before. I decided to close the old chapter completely. I needed to pay the rent I owed Henry. I wrote a check for the 3 months of rent. I sent the check to him in the mail. I did this for myself, not for him. I wanted to clear the entire debt and my conscience. My dignity was much more important than the money. I needed to know that I paid Henry back completely. One afternoon, I heard a loud knock on my new door. It was unexpected. I opened the door slowly. It was Henry. He looked surprised to see me in the small studio. He held the check I had sent him in his hand. "Lucy," he said, sounding unsure, "you did not have to pay this money. I told you that you needed to move out." "Yes, I did have to pay," I answered him. I looked straight into his dark eyes. I felt calm and very strong. I was not the scared girl anymore. He smiled at me softly. His smile looked real this time, not tired or stressed. "I know I made a mistake before," he admitted. "The way I treated you was wrong. I was too afraid of the neighbors and the bad rumors." He stepped closer to the door frame. "Can I take you to dinner tonight?" he asked me then. "Not as your landlord this time. I want to ask you out just as Henry. I want to talk to you." I paused for a moment. I remembered the terrible shame I felt in the hallway 2 months ago. I remembered how he chose his business reputation over my feelings. I knew my answer instantly. "Do you truly think you can win me back?" I asked him. My voice was very firm and clear. "After that terrible humiliation, you told me to leave my home because you feared gossip. I do not want dinner with you, Henry." I looked at him one final time. I felt no sadness or regret, only true freedom. "Get out of here now," I said clearly. I closed the door quickly and loudly. The sound echoed inside the small studio. I stood by the door for a moment. I was truly happy. I was free from the debt, the terrible gossip, and Henry. I had my art, my bright studio, and my self-respect. This was a happy end for me. I realized I had everything I needed now to start a better life.